So this is our program today. So I will go over different technology, just making sort of tour, because there are many options, you know, with data visualization. So today we see different kind of data visualizations. Just going superficially, right? And if you want to go deeper, of course, you will have to go this rabbit hole of the data visualization. So first of all, and that you already know a little bit. So we'll see, dashboard apps that you already know, JavaScript application, the graphic. Then we'll see Grafana, right? That you can use together with Waziup. This is one of the several options we have for data visualization. There is also Kibana, which is another big platform for data visualization, and there are others. Then we'll see how to integrate those visualizations on your own application. We'll see visualizations in ReactJS. And if you want to go even deeper into data analytics, visualization is something useful when you have to analyze data, you have to extract information visually. We can use Python or R as a graphic platform, right? So I will go over all of this. Okay, the first option is with a dashboard. So on the dashboard, so I wanted to show you some update I made. So let's reload. Okay. There is a first option, right? So when you upload your data, for example, here I have a Waziup which is switched on, and it has a sketch for uploading. We can find it. So I have my owner is C.Dupont and status active. All right, it is here. And there is a first option to get data, right? Well, this one is just sending a constant value over time. So we'll try to find another one. I activate public resources, and I find some other active device on the dashboard. So I'll put everybody status active. Right. So this sensor we can take. TC it has many kind of sensors. TC2 might be a temperature, 20 degrees, and you can see the curves here. And I added the two options actually recently in this dashboard. The first is it's called testing zone. Here you can push a value just for testing. Why not? So for example, it was useful for testing actuation and the actuation loop that I showed you last time. So here, for example, let me show you that again, because it's not that easy. So here I have a device. On this device I have three things, two sensors and one actuation. And what I want is that my motor here, maybe it's a fan, it will be powered more and more if the temperatures goes up, right? It makes sense. It will switch on if the temperature is too high. So this is quite easy. I have to go in my sensor here, and here there is already a notification. So let me delete it before. Right, coming back. Add notification that we already did last time, but it's useful to see it again. Alright, so here I just click on add notification. I check the fields are correct. If the temperature will be more than 30 degrees, the motor will switch on, right? Condition action. And actuator value, I can put a Boolean value like true, false. Here I've put a special value, it's a variable, which will contain the value of the temperature. Submit that. Okay, it is here. Alright, so here I created my notification. If TC is more than 30 degrees, it will send something on the motor, right? And let's see if it works, because the temperature is already more than 30 degrees. Right. I see here the motor got the same value than the sensor. That was what we programmed. Now the new feature is that you can test it like that. Testing zone. I will put another value, 40 degrees. Submit. Alright. So it was updated here. So that means, yeah, I simulated my sensor. Instead of having my Waziup sending those data, I did it manually here. And I did that just for triggering the notification and having an actuation. So I'm coming back here. Now it's 40 degrees and the notification triggered second time. That means my engine followed that, and it's 50 now. All right. Another feature I just added is this API here. Click on this button and you will have a variety of help for connecting your application to this device here, or this sensor. Right now we are on the sensor. So devices, you go in a device like this one and click on this button, API, and you will have a quick help to get data from this device. For example, HTTP here gives the direct link to the API of this device, and you get JSON, right? So you can integrate that in your app. Command line with the curl. If you want to make an application that uses command line. Somebody joins. Right. So here I am showing that with this quick help in the dashboard. Right, quick help is here, API. I open and I can access by API. Programmatically I can access this device. Python or JS will add also Go language, maybe some others. How to access this device? So do the import in Python, make the request, quite simple, print the results. Same in Node.js, same in Go, right? And if you go down to the sensor level, it is even more complex or complete, because you can either push data to the sensor using LoRa 1, that's what we saw in the first lesson together. So here there are two links to explain to you. You can also do it with Wi-Fi, and this is I also included a library for doing that. So let me show you that. If you're in your device, in your prototype for the competition, you want to use Wi-Fi, I just included an example. So it's on the GitHub. It's called Arduino Wazi Cloud. This one, Arduino Wazi Cloud, and here there are several examples for different boards. Very simple. So if you have Arduino Uno, because it's not for Waziup, right? It's for Wi-Fi, Arduino boards. So I put 3 already. So one is for Arduino Uno, which is very common and widespread. I'm sure you have it. Right, and very simply you put the SSID of your network, the password, and then in the setup you perform the connection with the Wi-Fi module, and in the loop you use our library, which is called the Waziup library for Arduino. That's why this is called Arduino Waziup. You post the sensor value, right, on my device, TC1, and the value that you have. So of course in the loop you have to make the measurement. I didn't include, but if you have a sensor, temperature sensor, you put the measurement here. And as a reminder, we have all the examples on the website. Okay, so here you can use of course this graph here, and now we'll see how to go beyond that. I provided also the last time some examples in HTML and JavaScript. They are in the GitHub. So they are located in Waziup examples, and they are running here. So here there are 2 examples, one for creating a map, one for creating a graph. And here you can embed this quite easily in your application. So just coming back on that quickly. So the index.html is very short, and this you copy paste in your application. You already have a graphic in your application, right? But it might be very minimal. It's based on chart.js, the same that you had, right? All right. So now let's see how we can go further than that and use some more advanced tool for graphic visualization. So for instance, you can use Grafana. So I will make you a demo now how to use Grafana with Waziup. So, and you can do it in parallel on your own laptop. Here the example is already done, but I will delete that and redo it for you. This is live Waziup data, which is displayed here on this Grafana, which is quite powerful. And the idea is that once you created your graphic, you can embed it in your application. So if you don't want to use a library or program yourself your visualization in your application, you can as well create it here in Grafana and embed one of the graphic in your application using the share embed, and here is the code for the iframe you have to embed in your website or in your application. Hi Daniel. So let me show you step by step how to create this graphics. It's very simple actually. I will delete it, remove, okay, and show you again. So the first thing that you have to do, you go on Grafana. Right, you arrive this here. So Grafana can be used in 2 ways. Either you install it on your machine, get Grafana, right? Or you can also use their own cloud instance. That's what I'm doing. So you click on Grafana Cloud Sign Up, which I did, and you create your own space on their cloud where you can use Grafana. So this is what I have here. So you arrive at this kind of a dashboard here, empty, And the first thing you have to do is to register Waziup as a data source. So you click here on data sources, so at the bottom here, data sources. And here it is showing you a list of data source possible. What is interesting for us is to add a REST JSON, because we will use the API of Waziup to connect the two, right? To connect Waziup and Grafana. So here I need to type JSON API, right? I search for it. Actually, it's here in the plugins. So you need to add the plugin called JSON API. This one. So I already have installed it. So, but you will have to install it, right? Once it is installed, you come back here and you go in data sources. And among the data source, it is here, JSON API, and then you can select it. And here you need to configure the Waziup API. So let's imagine this is empty, and also this. So you right here, and here we need to connect the API of our device. So I'm coming back on the dashboard. I select my sensor. I click on API, right? And you go down to how to get data from this sensor. Here is the data. Okay, this is only the last value actually, but we would like to have more values. So on this API endpoint, here we add /values. And here I have more values. All the JSON values are here, but actually I need more. Here there is only 16 values. Okay, let's pick up a more active sensor. This one is not so active, so let me find one. If you activate the settings show public resources, you see a lot of sensors. So right, filter, owner, everybody, status active. Okay, this one I like it. TC2. Right, this one has a lot of values. Click on API, and I get the HTTP address for getting the data. Right. Okay, /values. Here I get the data, but there are still only 20 values because it's limited to 20. So I have to add a parameter, a required parameter called limit. I can put 1000, for example, and I get much more here, right? So 1000 values. Right, this is what I want. So now I will pick up this this API URL here, and I put it in my Grafana at this level here, URL here. And then we said we will put the limit in the query string. Here I put the limit 1000. Save and test. So is it clear up to now? Yes. So here I just registered a data source, and now I will create a graphic based on this data source. So I come back on the dashboard. Okay, I don't have any actually, just some help here. And so I click on the plus, dashboard, add empty panel. Right. So it's showing me a first idea of graphic here. This is not my data actually, it's just an example, because I need to configure further how to read the data from the API. So I select the one I just created called JSON API among the data sources. Right, here it is. No data, because I have to configure two fields, right? Which field is used horizontally and which field will be used vertically, right? So as I showed you before, there are several fields in the data, right, that we just retrieved. There are several fields, so we can see it also here when I was putting the endpoint directly here. So which one he will use? So he needs to know. So I'm coming back on the Grafana, and here in the fields there is a field here called field, and I need to type in. So there is an example. I don't know, it's very faint. I don't know if you can see. And you need to type $, and it will propose a list. I want to have them all, so I need to put this operator here, bracket, star, bracket, and then I can select finally my field. So I want to have date received, right? And in the type I will select date, time, sorry. Alright, that would be my field used horizontally. Then I click on the plus for the second field, and same thing, this one will be the value. So $, dot all the elements. Don't know if it's proposed here how many. Yeah, okay. No, I want them all, so I put bracket star, right, and then dot value, right. Oops, that's it. Now it says data outside of time range, zoom. Here it is. So we have the graphic now. So this is this will be quite practical if you want to have this kind of graphic in your application without programming too much, right? It can be a HTML application even, because the idea now I can just apply, right? It is here. The idea is that from this graphic here I can extract the iframe. So I click on share, embed, and here is my iframe. So this piece of code here, of HTML code, I can put that in my website, and it will insert this graphic below. I can also use a link or a snapshot, why not? All right, is it okay? Did you follow? Any question? I think so. I think so. It says an iframe, so I don't know why not. What would be the problem? Yeah, Prince. Sorry? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, you can try. I mean, if you want to try, and I would be interested to know if it works well. Yeah. Okay. So those tools, I mean, like Grafana, I'm not an expert, I will tell you. I mean, they are very powerful, and you can create many kind of visualizations, maps, right, or the widgets. Then you can later integrate in your own website. So this is the example with Grafana, but there are others, and Kibana is very powerful. I used it in the past, but not recently. This one can create same kind of visualization, right? It's called Kibana, and it's based on a specific database called Elasticsearch. And if you have a lot of values, Elasticsearch is very powerful. Depend on your use case, right? All right. Yes. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you with Grafana. Let's go to ReactJS. So let me show you the example that we have in our own dashboard, right? So this one here. I will show you in the code basically. Then you can use this same kind of code in your application. So it's located in Waziup Cloud, dashboard. And one of the components will take care of generating this graph. I need to find it. Data chart. It's based on a library called ReactJS, right? And well, you can analyze this piece of code here and try to understand how it works. Basically, you use line chart like this one, and you add the different components. So this example here is based on ReactJS. So ReactJS is it's quite complicated. So I don't know if some of you know ReactJS. No. Okay, maybe some of the time I will introduce you to this ReactJS. Yes, Dean. Hello, Dean. Okay, you raise the hand. Okay. So by the way, Dean, do you know ReactJS? You know it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, ReactJS is not too much for mobile. It would be React Native. React Native, yeah. No, ReactJS, no, actually, it's quite interesting way to program applications. Let me show you a bit some of the basics, and then you can dig down by yourself if you want to go down this rabbit hole. So where is my Waziup? Okay. Yeah, I was showing this this component here for making a chart. So a ReactJS application is based on components. It's just a class, it's a JavaScript class that you extend to create your own class. And the idea behind is that this component here will be a part of the DOM The DOM is a document object model, and it is part of the it's a way of representing HTML. So here, for example, just taking one website randomly, I have HTML, right? My browser is here to display HTML. So there is HTML here, right? So each element is a piece of HTML. The DOM is a representation, or is a tree representation of this HTML inside the memory of the computer. So this is called document object model, and there are different ways to access this document object model, to display something or to modify something on the screen. And this is what ReactJS will do. So coming back here, ReactJS have the main function in the component of ReactJS is called the render, and this one, the render, will return something that is looking like HTML. This looks like HTML, right? This kind of symbol here. Let me open another component. Yeah, any component really. This one, for example, yeah, there is a render, and then a bunch of stuff looking like HTML. So this will be inserted in the document object model, the DOM, right, to create your application, right? So this is something devices.javascript creating this list. This list of stuff here is created by this class. And there is this something looking like HTML, but it's not really HTML. Actually, it's called JSX. It's an extension of JavaScript made to look like HTML. And by the compiler of JavaScript, it will be there is a preprocessor that will transform this into JavaScript, right? So basically, this is a basic mechanism. And the trick things to understand is that when you create a class like this, devices here, you will be able to use it in another component like this. I don't know if I understand. So here I have my class is called devices. Is made for creating this list. So basically, this class does a bunch of stuff. At the end, when everything is done, it will output the HTML, like this kind of HTML with your basically the lists that you want to show, the list of devices. And at a later time, I will use this devices class to embed it in another class. So let me show you that this list of devices here is using device form, for example, is using probably there is somewhere just one device, a device line card, for example. So here this is a way to show like sufficiently like a HTML. It's a list of device, and I can go to this device line, each of the card, which is also a component. So actually each piece of my interface here will be a component. So all the list is a component containing all the components here, and I can represent all of that in a way which is not too far from HTML. So it's different from other frameworks. For example, in Angular, or I think you don't have this kind of in JavaScript language. You have the HTML in a different file and with a templating system. So it's two different approach. Here the HTML is sort of embedded inside the JavaScript. This is a choice of React. While in other frameworks, like Angular, they choose to have the JavaScript and the HTML separated and making reference, of course. So each have these some advantage and inconvenience. I like it because this is rather modular this way. So you have if you want to make a class, this is a class here creating this kind of small cards here. And this you have the code for determining what to display and making some calculation, and then you display, right? And this there is just the construction of the interface. There is no styling. The styling is still made in a CSS file. So for styling your stuff, here you have a div. I didn't say that the div is red or green. Here it's red or green, but in the code I didn't say that. I just mentioned a class name. For example, left icon here, the class name. And this class name will make a reference to my CSS, which is in another file somewhere. I need to find it. Yeah, sorry, I don't find it, but there is a CSS file somewhere. All right. So if you want to make the graphics within Node.js or React.js, our choice here was called ReactJS. But there are many others. D3 is another library for making graphics. So that's an option, yeah. So any questions on the React.js? No question. All right. I want to finish with yet another technology for creating graphics, which is more for data science and data scientists and data analysis that use more down-to-earth tools, let's say, programming tools for representing the data, namely R or Python, right? So if you want to go this direction, it's very useful for analyzing data for machine learning. So just anticipating on the course we'll have on machine learning. So we are still negotiating the dates and the content with the teacher, but there will be an expert on machine learning coming in, and they will show you how to train your models, etc. But here I would just want to show you the preliminary step. So when you want to make some machine learning, you have data, right? But you need to put this data in shape, and you need to also look at this data. How does it look like? Is it reasonable? If there are some outliers, do I need to clear my data, for instance? So there are examples in the GitHub on that. In a folder, you can look for ML, like machine learning. No, there is not. AI. So it's called Zindi AI competition because it was a competition we did some time ago. So there's a link here, this old competition on machine learning. So here you have it, it was in 2019. And I don't know if I introduced that to you. We had a competition. So the idea was that the competitors need to predict the soil moisture. So we give the data, that is a lot of data about the humidity in the ground for a lot of time, in CSV files. So you can download them. Here there is a train set. Okay, I need to sign it. The train set is just CSV files, and they will have to train an engine to make some prediction about the moisture in the soil. That you will see with the other teacher. And now I just wanted to show you how you can quickly create a little script to visualize this data. So yeah, let me find where did I put this script. Sorry about the noise. So yeah, so if you download this JIT repository called Zindi AI competition, there are some examples in it. So for instance here I have some data, right, in a CSV format that I can download from the website. So my data here is a CSV format. Sorry. So you can see my data here is a CSV format, and to download it from the website, you can go on your sensor. Oh, it's on this one, and at the bottom here you can click on download data, right, and you have it in JSON, right. From the API you can also download it if you need it in another format, in CSV, comma separated values. So here you see I showed that before, so I can use the API to download my data in JSON. But if I want to have it in here it's written JSON, it's a response content type. I can select text CSV. So if your application wants to have CSV data, just have to put that. It's a header, right? The header, like I was already introducing before, the HTTP protocol, it's part of the HTTP protocol. You can specify in which format you want the data. When you talk to a server, like the API Waziup, you talk to that server, you can tell him, I want my data in JSON, or I want it in another format, like CSV. All right, try it. And instead of JSON, I receive CSV data. So I have different fields, okay, but that's same than before, just in CSV. So device, sensor ID, value, timestamp, date received, right? And the idea is that I will copy this data, right? I pick up from here, or if you prefer, you can pick up from here. Raw data, you can copy that, and you can put it in a file and inject it in Python or in R. So here there is an example script. So that's what I did here in my file called data with irrigation, gedit. Okay, a lot of data here with you can see there is a humidity, there is a wind, there is a pressure. Okay, there's the data from different sensors. And I will create a Python script to show that data. Right, so this is my Python script. It's based on a library called Panda. which is great for managing a big amount of data for machine learning, basically. And another library, this one called matplotlib, pylab, okay. And basically, you read the file and you determine some parameters and you show it. So it's very elementary, right? So you select 2 columns. You were interested in humidity and irrigation. And now the script is called show.python, type Python. I need to install Python. Of course, I have Python, but you need to install it if you don't. And then once you have installed it, how do I put this? All right. You type Python and the name of your script, right? And you will open a window and with the representation of my data. So I use a lot of those kind of scripts to dig down and analyze my data, to create graphics, okay, that I can also embed on publications. So this is very useful when analyzing data. All right. Do you have any questions? So you will probably come back with the teacher on this kind of analysis. Okay, so I think we finished. If you have any questions, you can ask them now. Yeah, guys, so, and feel free, so please tell me more about your application and what did you look already in terms of visualization, how to get the data, how to treat it, how to visualize it. The reminder, there is a forum, so it's called forum.waziup.io. So if you have technical questions, we are used to discuss them here. There are many questions already, so you can sign in and ask your question here, and our expert will reply quickly. All right, so this is our timeline, and we are here, webinar data visualizations as today. That's the last webinar we'll have together, right? Next webinar will be on external data source APIs and then the gateways. So I know the time was long and you had to wait, but gateways arrived actually. They are in Kenya now, and they are being prepared. And in the next weeks, we'll send it out to you, right? So we'll keep you updated. But it is progressing now. So it's just arrived. So it took a long time to deliver. You know that there's internal shipping problems, but now they are with us. So we are taking some days to prepare them and ship them. So the webinar on the 12th of April, 2 weeks from now, will be on the gateway configuration and then creating applications for the gateway. Then we'll have the business models and the go-to market, right? And in between, we'll insert also this machine learning course that we want to have. Yeah, is that okay? So now we are here in terms of phases. So stage 2 is still ongoing, hardware and Arduino programming. However, it will end next week on the 5th of April, right? So what does that mean? That means that you need to have by this time, you need to have already a hardware and a prototype already, because at the end of this stage, you need to provide some photos, right? So the idea that end of each stage you have to provide some progress report, right? So we know a bit and we can help you if there is trouble, and see how it is going. So this was shared with you also. So we are stage 2 will finish after the end of next week, and the output for the stage is the prototype built, right? So you have to provide some photos and some documentation. So we'll discuss that. You'll discuss that with your hub leads. So that the end of this stage, right? And then, of course, now we are also attacking the stage 3 at the same time, application development, right? So we have a lot of webinars on that. And the 3rd of May, it's more or less around the time you should have your application developed, already in a good status. Okay, so thank you very much, and have a very good week.